Sorry to be away for, gosh, 2 days of no videos. It has been a heck of a beginning of a week. Appointments and things and stuff to do, and lost all my studio time for the most part. I've been doing some sketching, trying to get the next chapter drawn up, but or the next part of this chapter drawn up, but I want to try to power through a lot of this coloring and get it done with, and start with something fun like this last panel, because I want to move on in this story. So, again, 100 Days of Comics. This is going to be day 46, video-wise. Last couple of days, I got in my 30 minutes of work just on sketching out the next panels for this next section. I didn't get a chance to do any sort of capturing with that. And yes, prepare for questions. I am prepared for questions. If you are watching live and want to send in a question on the Roku device, and otherwise you can feel free to post it on the streams here. But, need to get into this and get this going. Fix a couple of spots. Alright, so we've been doing this whole thing with yellow, so we might as well continue that trend. And we're going to drop in a yellow background then back here. Saturated line up ahead. And let's go ahead and do some sort of a gradient on this. Let's see, what have we been doing? We've been doing really, yeah, nice bright colors. Let's do that, and something like that. And then we got those lines doing that. So. Maybe I'll try doing some colorization on these. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, let's get in and make this guy look mean. Meaner. I'm just going to following the creases in his face with the shadow color. Always do more little pieces to his the textures that are involved on him. Fill in some empty spots. Question 1. When will I know I'm prepared to table at a convention? Would a smaller neighborhood show be best, or trying to get into one of the destination shows be best? All right, well, you're on the right track there with the smaller neighborhood. You pretty much want to conquer your own space before you branch out into some of the bigger shows. Why? Because big shows bring big expenses. You can easily expect to do a show, not even like the biggest show, but like maybe a Wizard, not a Philadelphia or a Chicago, but one of the other Wizard shows. You're still looking at an investment of close to $1,000 once you pay for your table, pay for your product that you're taking, whatever it may be, drawings, prints, what have you. Your transportation expenses, depending on where you're coming from, could be vastly different. I try to drive everywhere I can because I would rather pay my car payment than pay an airline bill for the most part. Now, if I'm going to the West Coast, I'm going to fly because that's just too much driving and the gas ends up being more expensive than the plane ticket usually. But you got to take into all those expenses. So get all your shows you can that you can do from your house and drive within, 4 or 5 hours to get to, and get yourself established there before you start branching out. And you'll also meet people along the way and become friends with other people in the convention scene, so then you can start splitting costs like hotel and expenses like that with people that you know and you trust, and that'll make it easier to do the big shows. Question 2, are you available to teach paid classes over Skype? I am not opposed to that idea. It'll take a little bit of time to get that up and running. I do have a master's degree in art education. It would be nice to use that. I might want to turn the production of that over to a producer to run that kind of thing so that I don't take up a lot of my time working, trying to get the groundwork done. So, I don't know. Varian, you want to look into that as a possibility? Because I'd be down for it. If nothing else, I've got a curriculum that I developed that I would like to turn into probably a video series. But again, that's a logistic thing where you got to put the time into it, and while you're putting the time into creating your thing, you still got to pay the bills. What types of powers does Dinosaur Man have? Well, you know what? Powers-wise, he's extremely strong. He's got the strength of the animal whose head he has. And opposed from that, he's still kind of on a discovery of what he's able to do. But for the most part, he's extremely strong. His human skin is still kind of like dragon scale, like a tough hide. So even though it looks human, he can take a wallop and keep on ticking. Alright, so his mouth's looking pretty good. We've got some shadow work going on in there. Can I just continue this? I gotta revamp my personal website and get Dinosaur Man on there. Thinking about doing like some sort of a newsletter. Had a couple people ask about merch before. I'm planning a stuffed Spaz toy, maybe some t-shirts or something. Start laying the groundwork for that. That's looking pretty good. I want to speed this up a little bit, so I think I'm going to start isolating my shapes using my magic wand tool to select this whole layer of color. That way I can kind of be a little more reckless. We really want to start getting his forms molded. And we'll go to our soft blender. I was using this a lot in a project I just completed for a wrestling show where I did a painting of a couple of different characters. And it turned out pretty boss, but I did pretty much the whole thing in Clip Studio because I wanted to know if I could, how good the painting could be in here. And this blender is just, I just love this blender. The more chances I give to using it, I enjoy it more and more. Okay, so blend in some more shadow there because we're backlighting him for this effect. So throw a little bit more in. And we need to get this stuff going too. So switch over a different color. Larger pen. And just kind of keep moving around. All right. Do you think it's appropriate to approach an artist at a con with constructive criticism? You know what? Yeah, I welcome it, but you can never tell with artists. Some of them get butthurt pretty easily. Some of them think that their artwork is their their personal little baby, so they're more protective of it. Me personally, I welcome it because I find it as an opportunity to grow. So I wouldn't just walk up to a random artist and tell them, don't be rude, that sucks. But if you notice something and you're striking up a conversation with this individual and you got a good feel for, working up a relationship with them, then yeah, tell them, hey, I think you should work on hands or something. And if they're honest about wanting to do this, then they should be accepting of it, and they probably already noticed that, hey, I need to work on hands more or something like that. So, and plus it'll help them because a lot of people kind of fool themselves with their work. They see only the good, they don't see the bad sometimes, and they're afraid maybe to ask for it. So, I mean, that's something I would encourage, but you got to take it an artist at a time. Okay, let's see. I'm from Ireland, and I'm working on a comic with a Chinese citizen who is the artist. Cool. Send him the script, and we produced 4 issues that are now on Webtoon. Awesome. I love Webtoon. I only write one, and he does not credit me as the creator writer. What can I do? All right, so you got 1 posted, and he hasn't given you credit. In that instance, I'm wondering why. Okay, if he's just the artist and this is you sent the script, so this is your project, so that means you need to control the pipeline. Yeah, if this is a direct theft thing, you know, I would contact Webtoon as much as you can and let them know. They're certainly they're going to be protective of things like that, but just start that process. And in the future, when it is your content, you're sending the script and you're hiring an artist or working with an artist to do it, be in control of your own pipeline. So the Chinese artist is going to need to send you the work. You're going to be the one who posts it on Webtoon. And I don't know if you might be stuck in this situation. Webtoon, the people behind Webtoon are probably your only best bet to try to get something done, something changed. But just for future instances, make sure that when you're the writer, when you're the creator of your content, that you are also in control of the pipeline. Don't give that up to anybody. Question from Adam W. Do other professional artists ever ask you to judge their work? Yeah, we do that back and forth all the time. Again, it's a comfortability thing. Like some of my best friends that are also artists will show each other what we're working on and, give feedback. And that's probably the safest way to get constructive criticism about your work is to go between artist and artist. And, we see each other's work all the time, so that's a good judge of whether or not the person knows what they're talking about. So yeah, I never, with my art education background, I never hesitate to chime in with my 2 cents. But since I do have an education background, I'm a little bit more diplomatic than some people might be. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, going back, if that guy stole your book that's on Webtoon, go to Webtoon first, state your case, see if they can work with anything. And follow it up from there. Post in the forums too, if going with the corporate structure, corporate guys and the people that control the button presses, if that doesn't work, then hit up the forums and Instagrams. Shout it from the rooftops if you have to. Okay, now we can move on to a screen layer, and we're going to get... He's in his mad phase, so we're not showing his pupil anymore when he's mad. He loses control. It's one of Dinosaur Man's biggest struggles, is that he, it's a human struggle. We all have this animal side to us, this sin nature, or, whatever you want to call it, where we can lose control and be only emotional, and, we want to hurt people and whatnot. Everybody fights that. It's common for everyone, some more so or less so than others. And that's a common theme with Dinosaur Man, is that he is so much half animal, half human, that it's his personal struggle here is trying to be a human without being a monster. Is art, college, or school worth it? I'm thinking about taking correspondence courses from corporate school. Also, where can we send Dinosaur Man fan art? Oof, okay, well, I will have an answer to that tomorrow. That's cool. Can't wait to see that. I'll do a dedicated email or something for that type of stuff. Yeah. You know what? The correspondence school from Joe Kubert, I think, would be worth the money, because honestly, I kind of wish I'd have gone there. I went for College for Creative Studies and did computer animation and digital illustration, and I can't really say that kind of a college environment was worth it. But if I remember right, those correspondence courses are about $900 a pop or something. That's pretty affordable compared to getting a bachelor's of science in illustration or whatever it is it's on that piece of paper. Because really, everything I learned in art school, I taught myself. So, I mean, you're doing it now, you're already teaching yourself. But yeah, I think the correspondence school classes would be great. And, I mean, I would even recommend them for seasoned professionals for refreshers. Because you never stop learning. You always got to be keeping yourself going. I know when I was looking for colleges, I sent for their brochure and ogled it, but took the safe route and ended up going to a college that I already had somebody I knew going to. I don't recommend that. Go to a school because it's worth going to, not just because it's more convenient. Honestly, if you're going to put, now this is a greater education question here. If you're going to put any money into an actual 4-year or 2-year degree, I wouldn't do it in art. Make that maybe the side part of it, take a few art classes, expose yourself to some things that are more expensive and harder to do. One of my biggest regrets was I didn't do as an elective blacksmithing. And now I've got these messed up hands, so I can never do it. But I always wanted to try, making a sword or a blade or even just a hammer in a blacksmithing environment. So, but yeah, use it for those kind of things. But if you're going to get a 2-year degree or a 3 or 4-year degree in something, get it in business management. Get a business degree. Learn how to use money. Use how to use your resources. Because most artists are terrible business people. And all of the hard lessons that I've had to learn in doing conventions and trying to create a product that people enjoy, it's been mostly business decisions that have been the disaster. Budgeting and taxes and just all that gobbledygook, knowing how much things cost and figuring that in. I feel so bad for all these guys who fall into the trap that I fell into, where they're just ecstatic to break even, or they don't count the costs of the hotel or the driving or food. They count, oh, we made our table back, so now we're making profit. Nope. Not till every single expense has been paid for. Gas, food, lodging, snacks, whatever. Pay for all that stuff, and then you're able to actually reinvest in yourself and grow your business. Mark Sylvester said once said that art school is good because you learn a lot of tricks earlier. Well, yeah, I mean, but also think about back then there wasn't YouTube either. So I would consider watching Jim Lee draw for a couple of hours or Ethan Van Sciver draw for a couple hours or one of their portfolio reviews. That's basically going to art school and learning some tricks too. Alright, let's see. Let's go back to our screen layer. And we're going to do some saliva and some reflections. Try to make this tongue look wet. I don't know if they still do it or not, but Imagine FX used to host this master course where you would go and there would be all these different guys who are big professionals in the digital art world. And it was like a 2-week thing where you go live on campus, and it would just be classes every day. You bring your own materials. whatever your tricks of the tools of the trade are. I always wanted to do that. I always thought that would probably be a better experience than what I had in art school. Okay, so I'm going to go above my line art now and do some white. Get an actual brush. For a little bit lower opacity and get our stabilization down. Is it bad form to email convention promoters your portfolio? It has to be considered for invited special guest status, so you get in free. No, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, it's all going to depend on, though, like how well you're known, whether you get guest status or not. Like, that's something that people subscribe to. I've only been guested at like 2 shows. One of the ways, one show that I'm supposed to be a guest at this year, I'm also doing a big production of it. What do you call it? A panel. I don't know why I'm blanking on a simple terminology like a panel, but yeah. So you got to give them value as to why they would guest you. And if you're a known commodity like a Bob Layton or something like been in the industry for a while, or whoever the new hot property is, you can get guested that way. On just sheer merit alone, it's going to be harder. So I would go into it with like, I'm willing to do a panel on stuff because they want more content for people to attend. Trying to always. The thing I hear from promoters the most is that they don't want to have just people paying money to go shopping. They want to have it as an event. So you'll see more ticketed events, talks with celebrities and things of that nature to try to make that the reality. All right, this panel I'm calling done, and we're going to move on and keep going. So that's panel 9. We need here's panel 8 and all of its goodness. Let's see. So I did all the color on one layer. Did that background stuff. So we'll go right into multiply. And I'm going to isolate the color here. Why you do that to me? Okay. Keep in mind where his hair is, his ear. I'm just going to kind of come in and do some shadow placement. A couple areas I need to fix right there, so be mindful of those. little bit of fading now with our airbrush. And look for some areas to blend with the blender. Not really any specific reason why I'm hitting these spots. I'm just kind of like, some areas I want to leave sharp and some I want to soften a little bit. Maybe I want to bring in a little more here. Program. Okay. Do your little thing there. Do I ever dream that I am drawing? No, not really. I mean, I'm sure it's come up, but it's never been something that was memorable. I usually do not remember most of my dreams anyway. I know for certain I've dreamed that I was at a convention doing something. That I can be certain of. Let's see. Let's just get a little bit darker shade of what we got. Alright, now we're going to do the eyeballs, because eyeballs are a thing. And they have shadows. Why did you choose Webtoon over Tapas or Comic Rocket? Webtoon impressed me the most, and they had a presence at Comic Cons. Pretty much right off the bat, I remember talking to them at Boston Comic Con, and it just seemed like you know, the platforms all kind of work the same. So, but when I talked to them, they already had ideas for trying to build revenue and paying artists, moving them over. They just presented themselves almost as a better package as far as I'm concerned, personally. And is to say that I wouldn't use another company? No, I might do. I've got a horror comic that I might want to do, and I think Tapas is a little looser on their guidelines, so that might work better for the horror comic. I don't know. I think also one of the things that really impressed me about Webtoon is that they seemed better branded. You know, like they were ready to take over the webcomic market. Okay, let's see. Is there a common criticism you have for fan art? What would it be? Shading, shadows, background? If I had a common criticism, I would have to say, well, there's certainly people who need to work on their drawing skills that are already selling fan art. That would be a criticism of mine. I know fan-wise, I know it might be hard for a fan. I wish I could see things through a fan's eyes, because I often wonder, I'll see somebody walking around with something and I can look at it and see that the anatomy's wonky, the pose is wrong. Human skeletal systems don't move that way with muscles around them. Why did you buy that? Can't you see? But alas, that's not the way things work. But you know what? They saw that first, and that was their choice as a customer. So that, it's the way things go. I think as far as, there's a lot of poor quality stuff. I think fan art is usually like largely a static figure on a boring blank background, not much going on. I try to put humor in my stuff. I try to put, some sort of context, subject matter going on in the stuff that I do. Or like with my painted posters, I really try to give people a lot of value for their money. I know my fans of the comic stuff that I do for wrestling, I mean, they just love it, and I always try to make sure I put on there that who the original artists were, give a thanks, a nod to them for the work they did that I'm homaging. But I try to focus on likenesses and just make a quality product. I think a lot of people, it's like a cash grab, and I feel bad for con attendees who get stuck with the cash grab mentality of some people who are out there doing it. Okay, when you draw on physical paper, what materials or board stock do you suggest? Well, be mindful of sketch covers because some of them are slick as snot and markers don't even want to adhere to them. I usually just do plain inks for that type of stuff. I like a smooth finish. I usually get smooth Bristol, or even the vellum one is nice too. Try to go with a high ply because I primarily use ink and marker. So I want something that's going to be at least 100 pounds, if not heavier, stock. Copics are my best friend. I've tried, anything and everything, but I keep going back to the Copic marker, which I think they're all in my kit right now. Don't use Sharpies for black fill because it turns purple. Pencil-wise, you don't need anything fancy. One of these things is just good enough. But, yeah. Is the artist original sketch card market dead? For the most, I would say, yeah, it's pretty dead. I think the only way you make money in doing that now is, even with Star Wars, it's hard. Because, you get paid garbage as an artist for working on any of those sets. You're lucky to get $3 or $4 a drawing. And so you hope that your return cards you can sell for real money. And there's just been no demand for that. And there's always been more and more pressure on the artists to, not sketch, but do full rendered beautiful works that take hours and hours of completion time, and you get paid peanuts for it. It's just not a sustainable thing. It's a good, as there's high turnover, it's good to get in it, try it out. That way you've got some credentials. It's an easier way to get professional credentials. I can say I worked on Star Wars and Transformers because of sketch cards. Being able to honestly say that was worth what I didn't get paid to do it. So alright, so let's see. Well, we need some highlights on this. And we'll get he's been sweating. Make him look a little worried. 41 minutes. That looks pretty good. Now for starting on this next panel, this is all in the same thing. I think I want to shade him darker, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of a background here too on this one, I think, as well. So here's our color for background back here. So I'm going to isolate the pixels on that so I'm not painting anywhere else. And then I'm going to start painting a sky on here and get... okay, where is my... cloud brush? There it is. Okay, there's a cloud brush. Now we'll go in and get... it's kind of a pink color. And cloud brush. Right there. Cool. Yeah, that was a fun one to do, and I was glad I was able to get the creator of Chew to sign the back of that for you. I thought that'd be a great little surprise. But yeah, that little thing turned out pretty good. Alright, so I want to do... we're going to make some fake mountains back here. Clean this up. I think I need another one here. Then we'll just smooth that out. Then use the fingertip to just kind of pull in a few details maybe. Yeah, didn't work the way I wanted it to. Alright, that looks better. Now I think I will do a glow dodge. And that's going to give an idea that there might be a sun or something going on behind him. That's nice and subtle, I think. Cool. So now, let me go to my line art there. And now I'm just going to kind of do the shadow color. I don't think that's going to help me much. There we go. So I'm just going to fill all of my shapes with this shadow color for right now. That looks good. I'm going to leave that one. What would you suggest? You give you 2 engager. What would your suggestions be to give to 2 engaged artists who want to break into the comics industry? Well, I would say if you want to break into the comics industry, start making comics. At least here in the United States, we have a doer's economy. That's been the big shift in the last 10, 15 years. The economic downturn that happened, and then our last administration didn't really do anything to make that upswing. And it's carrying over into what's going on now. The doer's economy basically says that if somebody who makes widgets wants to hire somebody, needs somebody to hire, they're going to pick somebody who's pretty good at already making widgets rather than someone who's never made widgets before. So if you want to break into comics, start making a comic. Show that you are getting work done on time. That you can meet deadlines. You can be the next Jim Lee all you want, but if a book is late, a book is late, money gets lost, and revenue is down. So you got to prove yourself basically already before you get in the door. Companies still do offer internships, so I would tackle that route if that's possible. If you're college age, do that as well. And most importantly is don't give up. Absolutely do not give up. Have your portfolio shown. Develop a thick skin. Take all the criticism you can. Go into your portfolio review with somebody and say, and ask for the criticism. And you just keep hammering that as much as you can. But yeah, if you don't know what to draw, there are tons of scripts out there. You just Google test scripts, comic test scripts. You can usually find a whole repository of them. And also for your portfolios, focus on the mundane. Don't just do action shots and pinups, because people will look past that all day long. Show that you can draw sequentials so that you can draw people having a conversation in sequential form. Those are the things that are going to stand out to an editor and make them look at your stuff more than somebody else's. Because if they want a nice, sexy pinup on a cover of a comic, they're going to get, half a dozen professionals that are already known for that, because they know just having that on the cover is going to sell the book. You want to keep people buying the book, they got to have nice, good interiors that tell a story. So that's what you got to work on. I just did a 10-page project for an anthology, and it all happened in a courtroom. So I'm hoping that that will make for a pretty good portfolio piece, because there was no action going on. It was all courtroom drama. These have been some really great questions, guys. I hope hope the answers are finding you well, and follow through on this stuff. Alright, so kind of got a little bit darker shadows and some shading. So now I'm going to go with my airbrush and kind of use transparency and go around the outside edge of this. Now we'll get into, I'm looking for areas of his skin that are going to pop beyond what's doing the shadowing. Are you planning on coming to any cons in Canada this year or next? Toronto, please. Well, you know what? I would love to. I have to do some more digging and talking to some of my friends who do them regularly, because I'm pretty much worried about just getting back and forth across the border. I think getting over to Canada would be fine. It's getting back that worries me the most, just because of the times that we live in. And I remember I got some books printed in Canada, and I was questioned for an hour because I had put 13 and up recommended on the bottom cover of my book. And they opened up all the boxes, looked through everything in my car. Like, for some reason, printing comics was suspicious in Canada. So, but yeah, I would love to come up and do probably Toronto, Fan Expo and all that. So if not this year, then hopefully next year, because I definitely want to. I have a passport, so I might as well use it right. Starving Artist Kitchen, yeah. We gotta come up with a better name for that. I mean, maybe not so starving artist. That would just be funny stuff. Alright, so I'll do a little bit of glow dodge and bring in some of the colors that are wrapping around him. And he's kind of evenly lit on each side, so maybe more so on here. Put some color in the eyes. Now I'll trim it away a little bit, because this actually should be the darkest part right there, the darkest of the darks. Yeah, Niagara Falls is a show I keep forgetting about. Has anybody... I don't know anybody who's done it. Oh, I probably do know people who done it. I just never asked them, hey, did you do Niagara Falls? That's a Canadian show, right? It's not Niagara Falls, USA. It's on the Canadian side, right? I might have just made myself sound like a geometry know-nothing. Geography. Gosh, too tired. Now I got embarrassing content on the web. And let's do a little more fanciness with the gun and then be done with this. I did buy a new backpack. I can almost fit enough to do a con in this backpack I bought. So maybe that might be an answer to Canada. Cool. All right. Oh, reflection. All right, so that panel is done. Oh, well, hello there, Tel Aviv. Thank you. Question 13, will you review my portfolio of art? I'm not saying no. I think maybe that with coming up with a new email address for sending fan art, that might be a good thing to do. Well, Paul, maybe we could do that show together. Cool. All right. Well, we're at the hour block. This has been a double episode. It's been great. I really enjoy the questions. Keep on coming. I'm going to get to work on some of that background logistics so there can be a place to send fan art, because I definitely want to see that. And hopefully show it too. Maybe do a Dinosaur Man Tumblr. I don't know how to use Tumblr very well. Maybe that would be an answer there. And then, yeah, so I'm going to keep hammering on this, but I'm going to close down the episode today because we are an hour long, and I'm not sure. I'll try to keep these under an hour if possible. But I thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody on the Rokus, on the Indie Vault Network, chiming in, bringing in some questions. This has been an amazing addition to this humble little show. Thank you all for tuning in across the world. It's amazing. I'm very humbled by it, and I look forward to logging on again soon, and we'll tackle some more things like this tomorrow, and hopefully be drawing the second part of episode 4. Until then, please go to Webtoon if you haven't already, and subscribe to Dinosaur Man. If pretty easy, you can bring up the internet web box and type in Webtoons. Oh, there it is right there. Well, let's just pretend that I didn't have it already up. Go to this page. I don't know. That doesn't impress me. Maybe it's a good story. Click on the checkbox. Search for Dinosaur Man. Come on, internet. type it myself. There he is. We have 47 subscribers. Let's get this number up. Solid 9.8 rating. I'm eagerly hoping to get episode 4. I keep saying episode 4 up by the end of this month. That's the goal. And yeah, so please do that. And then don't forget to check out all of my other oddity thingies. The Patreon, Hey Melby, where I post sketches of all the fan artwork that I do. And you can even become a background character in the Dinosaur Man comic if you so desire. I got one gentleman who's taking advantage of that, and he'll be coming up a couple months down the road, hopefully. And then there's the Instagram, Twitter, and the Facebookery. So until tomorrow, thank you all across the globe. Thank you to my hombres, Varian and Paul in Pittsburgh. And until tomorrow, thanks very much, and have a good day.